we are actually doing is to measure that, not from our own knowledge, but from the knowledge of the average Nigerian that is encountering the police on a daily basis. We can sit here and do armchair philosophy, trying to understand or say that a reform has taken place, but it actually needs to come from the people who engage with the police on a daily basis. So that's why we are doing this. It's not that there's no reform in place, but we need to get the perception of Nigerians if they've seen anything that can be called reform or not. From the federal government, we've had several series of interaction with the presidency about some of the things that we are doing. We've also had the same commitment or discussion with the leadership of Nigerian Police Force, and to be sincere with you, they've been open to all of our ideas. They are in the know of what we are doing. So we've not done anything behind their knowledge, either at the presidential presidency or at the leadership of the Nigerian Police Force. We've always gotten their attention whenever we needed it. Yes, and they are cooperating well.
The police, the government, they know where the issues are. I think that what the government have not been able to do so much is to really dedicate funds to actually funding the police. We don't make the argument that if you fund the police adequately, then all of the challenges will just stop overnight. But that will create a significant step towards addressing the issues that we face collectively as Nigerians in the hands of the police. And you have just said it rightly that if you don't provide those items, it informs tendencies for corruption. It informs police officers going to the roadblocks and staying there that consistently they have to get whatever they have to get and all of that. So if government sees it that the police is whatever you give to the police, the output is what you will receive. I think there's a quotation that explains that very well. You cannot give the police peanuts and you expect that the police is going to give you heaven and earth. It is not possible. So I think that invest more on the police capacities, invest more on their consumables and their uniforms and all of that, and invest more on training and retraining. The training here is not just training to just 3 months or 6 months you are done. There has to be deliberate, continuous capacity because crime evolves and policing challenges evolves. You will agree with me that in the last 10 years, last 5 years, the policing challenges that we have in Nigeria has changed dramatically. And thus, we cannot use old methods to continue policing the country. So I think that if you look at it from that angle of crime evolving rapidly and then needs to constantly fund the police in such a manner that it can actually stand on its feet and won't have to be looking at other ways through which it can cut corners and all of
There
that.
have been complaints from time to time, over time indeed, against the police. And these complaints are varied across various thematic areas. That they will include prolonged detention without trial, which touches on right to fair hearing and right to freedom of movement and liberty of persons. There are also complaints about inhuman and degrading treatment, and inhuman and degrading treatment, cruelty, torture. There's also complaints of torture against the police. We also have complaints about extrajudicial killing, unlawful killing, excessive use of force, amongst others. These are some of the complaints against the police before the commission over time. It is important that erring officials are brought to account. Unless people who err are brought to account, unless they are brought to justice, impunity will thrive. A situation where there are issues of abuse of office, issues of non-professionalism, issues of complaints against persons, and those complaints are swept under the carpet. That will breed impunity. It is important to gain public confidence by ensuring that when complaints are made against officers, not just the police, indeed, any public institution, when complaints are made, let the complaints be investigated, let findings be made, and let appropriate actions be taken based on the findings on each case.
The reform in the police is not just in terms of infrastructure. Right now, the police needs discipline. Right now, with the cadre of officers in the police, they are, I would not say they are all corrupted, but a lot of corruption goes on in the police. So the basic thing that needs to be done with those in the force now is to discipline them so that they come back on track. Now, also, those in the police academy, this is where people like CLEEN would come in. They need to work with them so that when they come out, they see things differently. The aspect of the police, when you now say, how do you motivate them? You talk about salary, you talk about housing. I don't know if any of you have seen the police barracks in Lagos. It's tilted. It's tilted, and people are living in there. Police officers are living in there. So you say when it comes to reform, right now, what you need to do in the police force is discipline. Then you start with the education of new officers. As a matter of fact, if it's proper, I will not say if it's proper, but it should be so that you start from the rank and file and climb up through the process. You don't just come in from, well, there's a provision for officers to come in as cadet officers. We don't have a problem with that. But yeah, the new entrants should be people who are capable of understanding what police is all about. You know, and the relations between lawyers and police is jeopardized because a lot of people think that law, a lot of a lot of people think that the lawyers always want to strive for the police, but that's wrong. They are supposed to work hand in hand, like in the Western world where you sit down with the lawyer and they interview the suspect. If that is done here, the police don't understand that it makes their work a lot easier. That well, I'm not going to say that all lawyers are straightforward lawyers, but most lawyers are straightforward lawyers. If you are doing your job properly, you'll find that you are helping the administration of justice to get things a lot easier.